Hello again and thanks very much for joining us. I'm Michael Nath. The Central Bank of Nigeria has said as part of its plans to phase out the old Naira notes, it will commence currency swap in the rural areas on Monday. The CBN disclosed this in a circular to all deposit money banks, mobile money operators, super agents and agents. Titled Naira Redesign Policy, CBN launches cash swap program in rural undeserved areas. The circular was signed by the Director, Banking Supervision Department, Haruna Mustafa, and Director, Payment System Management Department, Musa Jimo. It stated, quotes, in furtherance of its Naira redesign policy, the CBN has sustained its nationwide awareness sensitization programs, enforced speedy collection of the new notes at the CBN branches by the DMBs, and mandated issuance of the new Naira notes through automated teller machines to ensure distribution is fair, transparent, and evenly spread across the country. In addition to these measures, and in recognition of the need to maximize the channels through which undeserved and rural communities can exchange their Naira, the bank is launching a cash swap program in partnership with super agents and DMBs. The program enables citizens in rural areas or those with limited access to formal financial services to exchange old Naira notes for redesigned notes. To promote financial inclusion, the circular stated that the service would be available to anybody without a bank account. It said the old 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira, 200 Naira notes can be exchanged for the newly redesigned notes and all the existing lower denominations. That's 100 Naira, 50 Naira, and 20 Naira, which remain legal tenders. The agent shall exchange a maximum of 10,000 Naira per person. Amounts above 10,000 Naira may be treated as cash-in deposit into wallets or bank accounts in line with the cashless policy. BVN, NIN, or voters' card details of the customers are to be captured as much as possible. It stated that designated agents were eligible to collect the redesigned notes from the DMBs in line with the revised cash withdrawal limit policy. Agents were also permitted to charge cash-out fees for the cash swap transactions, but prohibited from charging any further commissions to customers for the service. As the scarcity of the premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, continued in Sunday, oil marketers have stated that the cost of the commodity would cross 800 Naira per litre once subsidy on PMS is removed. Industry operators had repeatedly stated that the high cost of subsidy on petrol was a burden on the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and was contributory to the prolonged crisis in the downstream oil sector. NNPC is the sole importer of petrol into Nigeria. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, recently suggested that the government should gradually withdraw subsidy on PMS, stressing that the budgetary allocation for subsidy would end in June. But oil marketers told a correspondent that while it could be advisable to remove subsidy, Nigerians should know that the cost of petrol could cross 800 Naira per litre once the commodity was no longer subsidized. They urged the federal government to ensure that all the necessary measures and infrastructure to ensure a less stressful subsidy removal regime were put in place before implementing the decision. The Secretary, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Abuja Suleja, Mohammed Shuaibu, said if the government fails to take the appropriate measures and they talk removing fuel subsidy, the situation will become worse because of scarcity. Shuaibu said oil marketers were ready to sell, stressing that when marketers got products a few weeks ago, the queues disappeared. He explained that the downstream sector was not structured for adequate competition, adding that this could also pose challenges when subsidy was eventually removed. The number of mobile subscriptions in Nigeria raised to 222.23 million in 2022, despite the implementation of the federal government's National Identification Number Subscriber Identity Module policy. At the start of the policy in April, over 72.77 million active telecommunications subscriptions were barred from making calls. But the industry has since shaken off the effect of this and grew by 13.89% in 2022. According to new data from the Nigerian Communications Commission, the total number of subscriptions grew from 195.13 million as of December 2021 to 222.23 million as of December 2022. This growth signified a complete shake-off of the decline that plagued the telecoms industry in 2021, when the total number of mobile subscriptions declined by 4.42% from 204.15 million as of December 2020 to 195.13 million as of December 2021. In the period under review, MTN Nigeria grew by 20.96% from 73.59 million to 89.02 million. Airtel grew by 11.38% from 53.93 million to 60.07 million. Globacom grew by 9.98% from 54.82 million to 60.29 million. And Nine Mobile grew by 0.49% from 12.85 million to 12.79 million. In 2022, tele-density, the number of active telephone connections per 100 inhabitants living within an area, grew to 116.60%, the highest on record. Nigeria's mobile population is the largest in Africa and is expected to continue to grow because of its large youth population. According to GSMA, the global body representing telcos, 18 million Nigerians will become unique mobile subscribers by 2025. The Chief Operating Officer Association Telecommunications Company of Nigeria, Ajibola Olude, attributed the growth of mobile subscriptions in 2022 to the increased usage of internet devices and combined government efforts. Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOS, through its Courier and Logistics Regulatory Department, has resumed its clampdown exercise on illegal courier operators in Lagos, while assuring industry stakeholders of sanitizing the courier industry of its sharp practices perpetrated by unlicensed courier operators. The CLRD last week in Lagos resumed its ongoing clampdown operations on illegal, unlicensed and unregistered courier, express delivery, dispatch and logistics operators nationwide after the Christmas and New Year holidays, as stipulated in the statutory provisions of Section 43 of the NIPOS Act 2004 and Regulatory Guidelines 2020. The clampdown was carried out by a combined team of NIPOS officials or officers from the Force Criminal Intelligence Investigation Department, Alagbon Ikoyi, as well as armed mobile policemen and the media. During the raid, which lasted for hours, some unregistered and licensed operators of courier and logistics services were arrested and handed over to the FCIID for prosecution proceedings, which commenced the same day of the Lagos clampdown. Those arrested were charged for offences which borders on economic sabotage, unethical sharp practices, illegal operations and conspiracy. Addressing the media shortly after the clampdown, the General Manager, Courier and Logistics Regulatory Department, Dotun Shonde, who represented the Postmaster General of the Federation, CEO of NIPOS, Sunday Adekboju, expressed concern over the reckless display of impunity and unethical sharp practices by the apprehended operators. Shonda said those arrested in the Lagos raid were taken unawares, and their records have shown how they have over the years carried out all manners of illegal courier businesses, hence the need to continue to sanitize the postal market by embarking on a consistent clampdown exercise nationwide. It listed some of the offences to include unethical sharp practices such as price undercutting, pilfering, broaching, damages, loss and dumping of customs items, poaching and subletting of operating licenses, with mounting of public complaints about customers being duped or obtaining money from them under false pretenses, no traceable office address nor registered brand name. Others include carriage of illicit drugs and prohibited items like small arms and ammunition, guns, gold, monies, and obscene items. He explained that operating without a grant of an operating license from NI posts amounts to illegality, which according to him is a crime against the state and the federal government, adding that such unethical practice will no longer be tolerated. He made it known that similar enforcement operations is being conducted in other states of the Federation.